Hey, welcome back to the Gemini channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to my channel, I'm going to do a general message for Gemini. Know that energy is fluid, so roles can be reversed. Always interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also know on this channel and on all my other channels, I like to go deep within my readings. So I do look at everything, but we take more time to look at the spiritual blocks, shadows, and see how they play out as karmic themes within your experiences. So you need to keep that in mind when listening, and also know anything of any importance or relevance to the channel or finding my other channels. You'll always find this or any other important information relevant to me, really, not just the channel and my other things going on YouTube in the description box. Now, if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me because you resonated so much with this one, you got to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write the word of the video in your comment bar. The word of the video is always the underlining energy that tells me why everyone's doing what they're doing. And it's always the first card out. It's always the first word on the first card that I pull out. Okay, so let's jump right on in and let's see what's going on. Now, if you are connected to a Virgo or Scorpio, you might want to check out those other channels as well as my all psychic soul healer zodiac channel. Okay, let's see what the word of the video is. It is disequilibrium. Disequilibrium. I feel like you're dealing with someone that is very imbalanced right now. And why does a person get imbalanced? Well, too much thoughts create too much emotions. When a person needs healing and they don't work through that healing and they just keep suppressing, suppressing their emotions. And I feel like this person has gone through a lot of trauma before and they tend to disassociate. And it's not like they don't know what happened. It's that there's no feeling towards what happened. And so when we don't know, again, part of the way that we interpret and read information is through the actual clairsentience, through feeling it. And if we're not allowing ourselves to actually feel what's going on, we're not really understanding why things are happening. So I feel like your person that's connected to you is in a place almost like I feel like a dark night of the soul right now. And why it's again, the energy is shame. And shame isn't something that just happens like when people have wounds of shame, it's a very deep root chakra type wound, which means that that person's not connected to their physical body. They don't feel comfortable connected to people because they feel inadequate. They tend to get in their own way. People that have shame, they self-sabotage. And they self-sabotage by, again, in ways that create a lot of attention to them, that give them a lot of bad attention, which makes that person feel bad about themselves. So I feel like you've been in separation from this person mainly because they didn't want to deal with any criticism. When you were dealing with them, you were dealing with a narcissist. You weren't wanting any type of relationship at all. What I feel like is that this person is used to creating attachments. And attachments are, there is an emotional connection, but the thing is that there's no trust in the relationship, and there's no trust in the relationship because your person doesn't tends to not show up. They are emotionally unavailable. And so what happens is they wind up getting in really imbalanced relationships where people tend to be really obsessed with them because they tend to come on really, really, really strong. And then they emotionally are checked out. They don't have a feeling because only giving time to something is what builds emotional connection. Otherwise, it's just based on like surface things, like what you look like, passion, what they think you could be, but not really who you are. So I just feel like this person, um, is really imbalanced right now. And they're imbalanced. Are you part of that? You're part of that because I feel like you took your power away. And so you're dealing with a narcissist. And whenever you are dealing with a narcissist and it's your choice that you're the person that puts up the boundaries, that you're the person that says how it's going to go, and then your life doesn't look bad, and this person has a lot of shame, well, there's a little bit of anger, there's a little bit of, there's a wound, like you're exposing this person how they truly feel about themselves. This person normally wears the mask. And right now they're going through a really difficult time. So they're sensitive. And I feel like they're watching you and you are not in a bad place. So again, they're nonstop thinking about you obsessively because it's almost like they do have a connection, but you also walked away from them and you're not suffering. Again, so I feel like the thing is, at one time you were suffering, like, but you're not disappointed now. And this angers this person. So there is a sense of that how this person feels so angry because you're like showing them that they're not all that. There is a sense that they want to like disrespect you. They want to actually create an illusion about you because they actually do feel guilt. You're making them have to look at themselves. And on top of it, they still have feelings, but they doubt quite highly that you take them back. And they have too much pride to actually come back and apologize. So you put them in a really uncomfortable situation. And I don't even feel like you meant to do it. I feel like you just detached from them. You were like, I'm not gonna get all obsessive about this situation. I'm not going to beg you, tell you what you're doing. I'm just going to disconnect from you. And this person acted like a real ass, I feel like. And so there's a sense that they would have to come back and be humble. So the energy is disequilibrium if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me. And also, again, this is what's influencing why we're going to see how this person triggered you. We're going to see what this person feels down deep inside. I mean, understand when a person has a wound, there's many different layers to that wound. And so this person is not, it has a lot of baggage clearly and hasn't integrated any of their shadows. And that's when they go into another relationship with all this baggage and they're not really in the present moment. They're everything that you're going to do is going to trigger this person because they have a lot of, again, blocks, spiritual blocks. They feel the connection, and a spiritual connection is there's it's unconditional love. That's the energy of the connection when we have a past life connection, when we have a soulmate, a twin flame, a past karmic mate. It's the soul recognition is that it's the person feels like home. They feel like unconditional love because that is what home is. It's to go back to source, and the energy of source is unconditional love. And so when you recognize that person and the person recognizes you, that's not false. However, when both parties have spiritual blocks, they're going to trigger each other. So with this person, I feel like they try to control everything, which is normally what a person does that doesn't feel good about themselves, doesn't feel safe. And again, and normally this works. That's why they do it. It didn't work with you. So they're still stuck with feeling all the emotions that they tend to avoid, all the emotions that, again, make them have to look at themselves. That's what these soul relationships do. And the thing is, you just walked away. So they're kind of just stuck with it, which is why they're really imbalanced. So when you were with this person, I feel like, again, I feel like there was so much mistrust that it affected like the passion in the situation. It's, I feel like, and that this person needs to have that physical connection. And so, person's not giving you anything, and they're also like, have all these spiritual blocks where they are overcompensating in their behavior because you're triggering them because they don't feel good about themselves, and they're giving you less instead of more. Well, they're not building that emotional connection. So that's why for you, you were like, I didn't feel safe in the connection. And because I felt like the focus was only on that. And that is normally, that would be because this person has a lot of trust issues, even though they're the person that creates the problems, is they grew up in an environment where, again, they had to be on guard, where they couldn't trust. Problem is now that they're out of that environment, they still have all the behaviorisms that, make it impossible to have a relationship, between a big ego and then having to heal. Having to heal is actually to surrender their ego. To build an emotional connection with anyone for long periods of time, it's, you have to go through different experiences. You have to make it through a few arguments, in order for there to be, the passion dies from a relationship is when there's problems and you're not allowed to talk about them, when the person's emotionally not intelligent, so they don't know how to react or respond to what it is that you're saying, because they're not present enough in your relationship to. And so it's almost like then they feel it like you're being hostile with them, when really it's like the hostility is really coming from them, not you. It's like you just don't want to be in a relationship that you don't feel safe in, where they're not really giving you anything, that it's one-sided, because this person has gotten hurt and they mainly hurt themselves. They sabotage their connections. People don't just automatically sabotage their connections. What has happened is, in one time, whether it was their childhood, whether it was a very young relationship that when they were young, they got into it, a relationship, or whether or not it was just such a traumatic thing, shame, and like it happens when you embarrass yourself. You embarrass yourself. So this person, I feel like, is cheated. And I feel like in the past, the people that they've been with have exposed them, so it ruined their character. This person has problems with being in like committed relationships. They don't feel safe. Again, so this is what I was saying before about the trust. It's like you didn't trust, that's why there was no passion. Intimacy is that. Intimacy is, I trust you. I can be transparent with you without you judging me, without you wanting to change me. Like that you can just hold space without judging, or if I can do something that's not gonna be, maybe God forbid I hurt you, but I don't do it intentionally. How well would you forgive me, or would you just abandon me? So trust comes more from the fact that you didn't feel safe with this person, so you left. And it's a good thing, because what you're seeing is that this person wants revenge because you detached from them. So You, the whole time, you're like, I have no tolerance, regardless of what history we have. It's like I'm starting to get disgusted because of the imbalances. And so I try to confront you on it, and you get defensive. You don't want to hear it because, again, this person gets triggered by your expectations, which makes you really tired because you're like, I'm tired of of this, that this relationship is too difficult, and it's too difficult because this person's on a low vibration and you're on a higher vibration, and it's because this person on some level is attracted to you because you are on a higher vibration. They don't like that their life, it's like I said, that's how this started. They have shame, and shame means that your life, you've drawn attention to your life that's negative. And that's because you don't feel good about yourself to begin with. So in a way that they would expect you to be kind of like their savior, the fixer. And that alone gives you anxiety, and that's not really what you want to do. So that's why you walk. But then now this person, I feel like, again, is haunted because they're lost. And they were so really relying that you were going to be there for them through this difficult time. And the fact that you didn't, it's like this person, again, would be very reckless. It's like, again, because they don't know how to be in a regular relationship. They only know how to be in attachments, which then they train people by being inconsistent. And if you're on a low vibe, you're always going to try and be perfect. But that's not what you did. You were like, you withdrew from this person. This person didn't know how to deal with it, because what it did was it made them look at themselves. It revealed everything, all their wounds, all their shadows. It didn't do what they thought. If you were on a lower vibe, you would have been very dutiful. You would have been giving. This person's used to being able to deceive and not really care like how they feel one way or the other about it. And that's the thing. So it's like, say, but this person, I thought you said, had feelings. They have feelings, but if a person's not healed, those feelings of love trigger this person to have a lot of anxiety. And then they confuse, um, they confuse love, unconditional love, with more like expectation and ownership, because that's what a narcissist does. They're looking at you like you can fix them, you're bringing something to the table, you're going to do something for them. Whether you will or not, that's not the issue. The perception is that's what this person thinks, because again, when a person has wounds, it's distorts their perception about themselves and the world around them. And then the ego gets involved and creates personas and masks. And this person thinks that they're so smart that they can outsmart anyone. And that's why when you detached, it was like you outsmarted them, because it was like, how long? I feel like this person was kind of holding back, like being a little spiteful, expecting you to cave, and they're holding on, holding on, holding on, holding on, but then realize that you had just completely let go. And how long ago did you let go? Who knows? But this person's stubborn, and they felt like, well, they usually win because they don't give in. And the thing is, you just didn't play. They're used to, that's not an option, but that they ever even considered. So it's, again, now this person has mud on their face and you put shame on them, because what you're doing is you're exposing them. They already feel like shit about themselves. They're already not in a good place. They were looking to for you to save them, and now you shame them, and now this is why they kind of want revenge. So again, and so there's, again, they put too much strain on the relationship. There was too much strain, and that's why they're like, I did too much. And there's almost like, I feel like this person, um, doesn't know how to approach you. Because in approaching you, they would either have to humble themselves, surrender their ego, or they would have to come to you and really be open and honest. And they're like, I don't really want to be open and honest. It's like, because then that means I have to be transparent, and then that means I have to be vulnerable, and that means I have to really show the care, and then I don't have the upper hand. So, and that's why I'm saying it's more like, no, they're not in it. Like, it's again, no, like I'm telling you, no, no, no. Because what I felt before is what I feel now. They don't want to do it. It's again because of the ridicule. There's, in a way, this person wants to like humiliate you, again, to kind of punish you. Like, they're very abusive, almost like publicly ruin your reputation because they are in a bad place. Like I said, that like they brought shame onto themselves. And I feel like they brought shame onto themselves. Either they were in a relationship and they cheated, or they stole. They did something that brought shame on them, where people are looking at them a lot differently. And that's making them, like, again, intensify that they don't feel good about themselves. So normally this person escapes through other people. And the thing is, you detach. So the person that was actually gonna be the one that got the shit, you were like, no. So it's such a good thing, because this is a karmic mate. So we have to say, why would you attract someone in your life that has this many problems, and who would want to like ruin your life, like for no reason, no less? Like, what is the childhood trauma? Because you're a magnet of what comes into your life. So we always want to know what, why. And again, belittled childhood trauma, being bullied by a parent, being belittled by a parent, the terror that happens when you have an abusive parent and you're a child and you have to rely on that child. Psychological abuse, emotional abuse, where a child needs to feel loved, needs to feel supported. You were made to feel like there was something wrong with you, like you had shame on you. Maybe you had a learning disability. Maybe you had, again, you did something were a little bit different. So you drew attention to your house that wasn't seen as like as good. Like, if you had a learning disability, or if you had, you got yourself into trouble. Maybe you stole as a child. You did something as a child that was looked down on, but you were a child. And instead of getting that support and that love and that guidance, you were made to feel bad. Children that are bullied in childhood don't like themselves. They're taught not to love themselves, and they try to seek out the love through outside things. So again, belittled, not feeling safe. And also, if you were abused in childhood, you wouldn't recognize a lot of times in your adulthood if someone was abusing you, especially someone like this that's very underhanded and sneaky, kind of like a snake. Like, they're so mad because like you got away and they weren't giving you anything. They weren't treating you well. They weren't giving you anything. You were like their backup plan. It almost seems like, and then you like detach from them, and or their option or their second, whatever it was that they weren't honest in the beginning. And it's like now it's separate from you. It's like, oh, that could have worked out. I did have a connection to you. Yeah, a connection, but the person doesn't, it shouldn't be in a relationship, because they're an angry person due to what has happened in the past. And so they're holding on to negative energy, and people that hold on to negative energy for long periods of time hold on to resentment, and they're not happy, so they can't bear to see other people happy, especially if they're a narcissist and they're in a bad place. Why should my life look bad and your life look good? Misery loves company, especially if you're going to show me up, especially if you expose me, especially if you saw the mask slip off my face, and now you're calling me out on it, and you didn't call me out on it by words. You did something worse. You just walked away from me. See, if at least there were words, we could have gotten into an argument, and I could have made you say something where you would have looked like an idiot, and I could have felt good about myself, but you didn't even give me that. Misunderstood. Again, belittled because no one understood you. Maybe again, you were a highly sensitive child, creative child. Feelings like you don't fit in when you are misunderstood, feeling like you gotta isolate. So already we can feel the childhood wound, why you would attract this type of energy. Belittled is like bullying, and this energy that this person is like, I want to ruin you and make a mockery out of you in the county square. That is what this person's like. And it's like, I didn't do anything. So as a child, that's probably what you felt like. I didn't do anything, and this person's bullying me. It's like, but you are always optimistic. Again, your light will piss off people. Sometimes people think, oh, it's like their life is better than mine. They have a nicer car, they live in a nicer house, they're actually with someone. My life doesn't look like that. And it's your light, it's your essence that pisses people off. And I feel like you're on a higher vibration than this person. You tend to be very optimistic, and this person didn't believe in your optimism. And then I feel like whatever you were very positive about, like you put your energy towards your life, friends, situations, and I feel like this person is not someone that is in your life, but I do feel like there's someone that is obsessively watching, because they are obsessive. Narcissism is when you take your power back, you trigger their abandonment. So it's like, and they're watching your life get better, and it's consuming them, and it's making them angry, making them very angry. And they thought by now that you would have came back, or that you would have fixed it, because most of the time they can manipulate. They thought that they were going to take a long time, and you were going to be so upset. And it's like, you're not upset. Your life looks better. They're the ones that have mud on their face, because they know that you know that they were sitting around waiting for you to come back. And what they see is, it's like, that's not happening. And again, so frustration, it's like being brought up in an environment where love is difficult is frustrating for a child. So you attract this person into your life because, again, not feeling safe. If you feel like misunderstood, it's a lot of times it's because the people around you were they were committed to not understanding. I know, I understand, like the best way is my way. Again, having a parent like that, again, where it's it creates a lot of trauma if you were also belittled and bullied, like I said, from a parent. It's terrifying because this is your caregiver. So it makes you not feel good about yourself. And then when you stay long periods of time where you don't feel good about yourself, well, then guess what? You can actually dissociate too. So I feel like you and this person had a very strong spiritual connection that they've never experienced before. One that they have a lot of feelings and made them feel a lot of different things and stirred up a lot of different emotions in them, and still do. Because like I said, you showed them that they're not all that. You exposed what they need healing in, where without a scratch on you. Normally people, like you said, like that, they're happy if you have scratches on you, because then it's like they can say, no, 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 look at the scratch, look at this. It's like, you know, and they know that you know, and they actually are feeling. So like I said, it's really making them have to think and feel. And when a person's disassociated, like I said, they don't feel. So I feel like this situation is happening so that this person actually does look at themselves. Now, does that mean that they're going to change? Well, I feel like person always changes a little bit, but would they be changed enough for you to date them? No. It's like because they haven't done the work. However, and what you see is that they are not healthy. They're not all of a sudden going to change and do anything. Their intention is not all of a sudden going to be a good person, especially without the work. They would have to understand why they feel the way that they do and why is it in essence, and really dig deep, and that's going to bring up a lot of their childhood trauma, which they've been avoiding for years, that they've suppressed it, and because they've suppressed it, they're really imbalanced. The way that they think, the way that they move, the way that they navigate, yes, they look very normal on the outside, but someone that wants revenge, again, because you didn't do what they wanted you to do. That sounds like a bully to me. And because you got away, there's more anger. Well, that's kind of energy of a trauma that sounds like to me that somewhere in your childhood you have again of that that somebody that when you were a child did that. So now sometimes you don't feel safe by certain personalities. This person, again, was one of those people. And you were like, I don't trust this. I can see the imbalance. I grew up with that. You're making me feel and like not worthy. You're trying to create an attachment where it's like where I give you and I emotionally are connected to you, so you can treat me like however you want to treat me. It's like, no, I don't think so. And so to really heal this energy, by the way, and to not have that same karmic theme play out in your life, which is having people bully you, having people disrespect you, is to really be grounded in yourself and set boundaries right from the beginning. And if you see a person's not respecting your boundary, you have to again end the friendship, because it's that trauma plays out as again attracting people into your life as bullying, relationships, not feeling safe in relationships. So setting appropriate boundaries, having a lot of other things in your life that fill your life with passion and happiness and fulfillment, well then that's emotionally makes you strong enough to have discernment of whether a person has good intention or bad intention. This person had a lot of red flags along the way, thank God, because you were able to, get away from them without a scratch on you. Or if you're involved with them now, you will be able to get away with them, get away from them without a scratch on you. So trust. I trust life and my strength. Each moment guides me to the light. Everything on my path is placed there for my growth. So it was a karmic connection to help you grow. You may say, how does somebody that's abusive grow? Well, it's again, you passed the karmic test because you chose yourself. First of all, you detached. You said, this person's never going to give me what I need. I'm not going to try and make them into what I don't want them to be, which a lot of times when we come from homes where we were belittled, we try to change the outcome. We try to rewrite the story, and we wind up in the same exact type of karmic condition that we did in childhood. So if you were belittled, well, guess what? This person, like I said, there's punishment. So we already know, being with them, that they would be abusive. They're obsessive. They, again, due to their own life, they would treat you like their property and expect you to be a certain way. So again, this was about trusting in your intuition and realizing that everything's put on your path to grow. So this grew you in number one, your faith, number two, your discernment, to be able to really be able to see and to trust yourself, to be like, I am safe. I'm the person that makes me safe. It doesn't matter whether a parent bullied me. I am safe because I have discernment, and that allows me to, you know, get out of bad situations before a person's able to make a mockery out of me in the town square because I got away from them, that they can't do anything to me because of what they're going through. And in the end, that's really what it is. We have no control over who comes into our life, right? We don't know whether a person's good or a person's bad. We just will have an open heart and try and treat people the way we want to be treated. Problem is that a lot of people have wounds and they act from those places. So whenever you're in a situation, as long as you're balanced, where you're not so close up to the picture and giving this person all your time, energy, and everything, you're balanced, meaning you have your own life and you're interactive in your own life, and this person is only, just a friend. Well, you're gonna have time. You're gonna have time to see what this person's motive is and what the red flags and be able to discern, and that in the end is what gives you peace of mind, makes you feel like you're strong, makes you feel like, again, that you're safe, because spirit is inside of you, God's inside of you at all times. And our intuition, when we feel in the now, in the moment, only in the now do you get divine guidance through gut, intuition, inner knowing. Well, that's what makes you safe. That so that you're never alone, that you're always being moved, and you're, as long as you listen and you don't react from a place of trauma. This person that you were dealing with reacts from their trauma. They don't act from what's happening now. That's why they have so much anger, when we suppress our emotions. Well, the one little thing that happens, we're going to get triggered. It's going to be like a volcano. And then, you got to clean up a lot of life then. And that's what happens now. This person thought that you were going to be the full man out, and you're not. You're disconnected. And so they have a cleanup on aisle 9 that they don't know how to clean up. I'm going to leave that there, Gemini. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.